This is wholeness. I'll go home now, shall I?
That's a good idea.
It's totally and utterly simply this. And we go on, the seeker goes on thinking it's something else. It isn't something else, it's this. But it's this for no one. That's the magic. That's the drop. That's the end of everything. The end of everything is the end of you. So although you may have come here tonight thinking you've come here to get something, actually you've come here to lose something. You've come here to lose your life.
So is it just my brain tricking me, like...
It isn't tricking you. Being arises, and in being, in aliveness, arises the idea of separation. There isn't anything else playing a trick on you. There isn't anything else. But that is being, thinking that it's separate. So it's being, you could say, playing a joke on itself.
So it sounds like a loophole that you
A
can't
loop.
get
Yeah,
out
it is a loop. It's a total loop, which isn't going anywhere. But all the time, you're an individual. You think you've gone out of the loop and you're going somewhere. There isn't anywhere to go.
There's nothing to get.
There's nothing to get.
And a couple of weeks ago, I had this. I had this idea.
It's okay. You can use the word.
Yeah, this idea of me kind of ceased to exist for just a short moment.
Yeah.
I was just taking a shower, and it's like everything changed. And ever since, it's like my brain started to take revenge or so. It's
yes, it does.
It's like
yes,
it's working
brain
overtime to reinforce this me.
Yeah.
And
it's survival of the brain.
I'm starting to slowly suspect that it's not a good companion in this.
Well, it isn't an enemy, but it's frightened of this. This is the brain, the mind.
It's just my brain that's telling me that he's the enemy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's frightened of this. There's a fear about this.
Yeah.
It's there's a fear about you dying.
Yeah, it's really strong. It comes like...
Don't worry, it'll happen. You haven't got to worry about it. You're not going to do it. It'll just happen.
Yeah, but it seems like... at least my brain tells me that if I try to focus on the present moment, then there is some kind of temporary quietness or so, which seems to be more in touch with that.
It seems to
it's
be...
like the idea of me is gone for just a moment, but then it comes back again, and then it's like, you lost it again.
Yeah. Well, you didn't lose it. You came back. The separate seeker comes back. Suddenly there's nothing. Help! Try and think of anything that will bring you back. We often hear this from people.
So
this is fine. Oh!
Yeah. And that just goes on and just spins on
until
itself.
Until it doesn't. It goes on until it doesn't.
So I just keep on...
No, you don't. You don't. You never have.
No, that's kind of strange, because it's like going in and out or so. It's more like all of a sudden, like what I thought was real is more like a dream or so.
It is a dream.
And it's like I cannot believe that this idea of me still goes on in the world and does its job. And
well, no, it doesn't do its job. What a job gets done, and you add me to it. You think you are doing the job. Nobody's ever done a job.
But it just seems to get so complicated, with socializing, like talking to people, and basically I have nothing to say, but this me starts talking, and I think, what a crap.
Yeah, but you complicate it because you as a person think you have to negotiate with the world. So that's when the complication comes, relationships, money, the inland revenue and all that.
Yeah,
it's terribly complicated. Yeah. Actually, it isn't, and you're not doing it. What we're talking about here is utterly, utterly simple, but the individual complicates everything because the individual wants to stay alive, so it tries to have a complicated story which will never end. If it's really complex, then this will never end. I'll go on being alive. You daren't allow there to be simply this. It's too frightening.
Yeah, it's scary, yeah.
I'm not. How am I? I'm not. And then it's totally simple, because what's happening is these arms are waving around and there's a voice speaking. So it's utterly simple. And there's no agenda. There's no longer somebody in here trying to please somebody out there, because there isn't anybody out there and there's nobody in here. So what the hell?
So if there's not a you and not a me, do we feel things? Is there good? Is there
A
bad?
feeling arises.
Yeah.
Feeling arises. Feeling happens.
So does misery exist?
Yeah, I've noticed.
How does it feel?
Miserable.
Does that bother you?
Next question.
Does that bother you?
No. Who is there to bother? Misery arises for no one. This is very difficult. This is indescribable. A being is not about awareness or knowing anything. There is just misery, or there is indigestion, or there is standing on the floor.
Isn't there something that reports?
No. In speaking like this, yes, he says, is there misery? And then nothing says, yes, there is misery. But that doesn't make misery an object. Misery is just life happening for no one. Let's be clear about this. Enlightenment or beingness is beyond awareness and knowing or perception. It just is this.
So could it be that misery arising is perhaps different from misery being experienced by a me?
Well, the difference is that in being an individual, you think the misery that's happening is happening to you. In liberation, it's not happening to anyone. It's just misery.
So therefore it would be less painful?
Well, no more painful.
Why more?
Well, because there's nothing filtering anything anymore. Liberation, beingness, is total aliveness. There's nothing in the way of it trying to filter it off or pretending it isn't there. Everything is absolutely full on. Full on. It's complete. Already it's simply timeless wholeness. And in that aliveness, in that being, arises the idea of separation. As a tiny child, either at birth or very soon after birth, separation, the sense of being separate, happens. It's energetic. It's not an idea, it's energetic. It's called self-consciousness. The only thing in the whole of this manifestation which is self-conscious is a human being. Nothing else is self-conscious. There's no such thing as a self-conscious tree. But the human being experiences separation. And at the moment that the human being experiences separation, the brain simulates a me. Because of protecting itself and having to deal with the world that's arising, that seems separate, the brain sees the world suddenly as separate, then the brain simulates a me in order to protect itself and the body from what seems separate. So apart from self-survival, the brain develops a system of dealing with the world for the me. And it grows up, and it grows up, obviously the child grows up with a lot of other me's who also have this system of negotiating with the separate world. And that becomes more and more sophisticated as the child grows up. And so the child or the person learns to find pleasure and avoid pain. And what we see in the world is that energy going on. The self-conscious human being is looking for pleasure and avoiding pain. And that becomes more and more sophisticated. Yeah? Obviously people look for lots of money, lots of lovers maybe, power, whatever. But for many people that isn't enough, or for some people that isn't enough. And so people turn to religion, because all the time there's separation, there's a feeling as though this isn't whole, there's something missing, there's a secret that can't be found for the separate individual. The separate individual is looking for not being separate, which is wholeness, but doesn't know how to find that, and doesn't know what that really means. So the separate seeker is always looking for something that it doesn't really comprehend, because it lives in separation, and it sees everything through a veil of separation. Everything it looks at is somehow separate from it. And so we have religion, we have teachings about enlightenment, we have therapy, all those things are an attempt by the individual to find something deeper, to find this wholeness. The difficulty of that, the impossibility of that situation is that actually there is only wholeness. It's the open secret. What we look for already is this. It's totally open. It's never gone away. What we long for, beingness, wholeness, has never left us. But because we live in this belief, in this dream of being separate, we can't see that. So we think we have to find something. And we search for something here and there, through meditation, through self-inquiry, through all sorts of teachings that we learn about. We learn that we have to change ourselves in order to find what we want. And all the time we're trying to change ourselves, we're not seeing that what we long for has never been lost. It's never left us. We go on searching and looking all over the place. We go on trying to approach something that doesn't need approaching. We're always trying to approach something that already is the case. Already there's only oneness, already there's only wholeness. But all the time there's a seeker, the function of the seeker is to seek. The seeker can't do anything else but seek. Awakening, in my terms, the way I use awakening, is awakening from the dream of the idea that there's something to find. But nobody awakens. What happens in awakening is that the seeker, the activity of seeking, suddenly ceases. The whole sense of separation suddenly isn't there. So the artificial me, this me that the brain has created, suddenly is no more. It simply falls away, not through any sort of effort on the part of the seeker. Simply, suddenly, there is no seeker. There is no separation. And suddenly it is seen that already that which was sought is everything. Already everything. For no one. What is seen is that all there is what's happening. All there is aliveness. All there is in this room is aliveness. All there is in this room is what's happening. Whatever's happening there is what you're looking for. But whatever is happening for no one. It's not anybody's bum sitting on the seat. It's not anybody's breath being breathed. It isn't anybody's blood being coursed through the body. It is simply blood coursing through the body. It is simply breathing. It is simply sitting on a seat. That's all that's happening. All there is in this room is what's happening.